Brenton, what's that coming up through the floor?
Nathan, I think it's those scary earthworms that we'd heard of before on the news.
Oh no, and Brenton, look out the window, what's that?
Nathan, is that a twister? Is that Dorothy Gale herself?
Oh my god, Brenton, what are we gonna do?
Nathan, there's only one thing that two young men can do in a situation like this.
I hope it's Classic Movie Banter's Double Disasters.
Hey guys, welcome to Classic Movie Banters.
Welcome, thank you for entering the room. Gosh, that tension.
Gosh, guys. Welcome to
it.
Mate, it's episode number 76.
It is.
Classic Movie Banter. You know that movie podcast where I won Brenton and that guy won Nathan. We talk about movies that are 20 years or older.
Yes.
20 years. And guess what that makes them, Nathan? Classics.
Oh,
Classic movies.
What an occasion.
Yeah, it's funnily enough, that's why it's called Classic Movie Banter, because we throw in some good banter while we tell you whether these films are still worth watching today or whether they're worth taking those Blu-ray DVDs and crushing them up into tiny little balls, and then you kind of you add little propellers to those balls, like tiny little propellers made out of maybe Coke cans.
Yes.
Coke cans, and then you just let them. We head off into the South in America, and we just find a tornado, and we just let them loose.
It's like when you have a loved one's ashes, you need a spread. You go to some sea cliff, but it's like that with the DVDs of what we're talking about today, Brenton.
Totally, dude. That just reminded me. Do you know about I was trying to think of a case where someone's taken something that was produced en masse and just tried to destroy it. And it made me think of the Atari.
Oh,
which
the
was
ET game.
Video games. Yeah, the ET game. And it's that's the only thing I can think of the top of my head where a company has actually been so fucking embarrassed that they've literally held a burial for said piece of entertainment / art and got every copy, attempted to get every copy in existence and bury it in the fucking ground.
Jeez, that's what makes our podcast so difficult to do that with, Brenton, because it's on the internet. I don't know how we're going to bury this one.
Well, we'll have to one day, clearly. Something's going to go wrong one day, and we're just going to have to,
remove all traces we would never hear.
We'll have to, go into the witness protection program.
You'll be Nenton and I'll be Bathan.
Yeah, we'll be living out our days. I'm not too sure. Probably, I reckon they'd send us to Tasmania, probably, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Tasmania. You're going to get us soon. Oh, Brenton, it's a special day. It's a special episode. You know why?
Yeah, man. Why is that?
Because we're doing a double bill, Brenton. It's a famous double bill episode where we do 2 movies in one episode.
Oh, gosh, Nathan, we've only done one of those before. Is this the second one?
I think we've done more. I don't know. Maybe.
Have we?
I swear we've done a few.
I can only remember one off the top of my head, and that was the Disney one in which we reviewed Bambi and Fox and the Hound.
Jeez. Yeah, that
feels like an age ago.
No, that was an age ago. God, I still want that fucking deer to die. I'm just not happy with Bambi.
Now, Nathan, we've had a couple films that were on our list for this podcast for a while, and for some reason, which I'm still not too sure about.
Oh, I know. All the fingers are pointed at you, buddy, for this episode.
Whoa.
Sit down. Excuse me.
Sit down. Okay, so let's fill our audience in. I suggested that we should review at some point that classic 1990 film Tremors, starring one Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
And Nathan said, that's a great idea. I've never seen it before, and, I'd only seen a few scenes from it, but I thought it was a good time, and perhaps something that was worth our time to chat about on this show. Mm-hmm. Nathan then suggested that we do a double bill in which we talk about 2 movies, Twister and Tremors, and make it a double bill of disaster films. Now, at this point, I kind of knew the premise of Tremors. I did not want to spoil it, so hence why we're classing Tremors as a disaster flick, even though it could carry across many other different genres as well.
Oh, yes. And I thought it was going to be an earthquake movie. I thought we were going to see tornadoes versus earthquakes. And there are elements of earthquakes in this movie. But,
the element's the word there, isn't it?
What a joke. I'm here all week, everyone. Every week. I can never leave the internet. But yeah, so we're going to spend our time today talking about Tremors and Twister. You get 2 movies for the price of one. What an occasion. Yeah,
and the price is free because you can find us on the podcast app or on SoundCloud or on YouTube.
Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Please do it. guys, I need to feed this SWAT team shit.
That
That was
like,
a person.
all we've been giving them is just like dirty band-aids, and they just aren't like eating them anymore.
Basically, yeah, they're not enjoying it.
Nah.
That was a joke for all of our listeners that have stuck with us for 76 episodes. Congratulations to you guys. Everyone else, I'm so sorry you're here. So let's get.
Brenton, can you please be a Hollywood producer for me? And I want you to simultaneously pitch for me the movies Tremors and Twister.
Okay, cool. Give me one moment.
Oh, yes, come in.
Hi there. I just snuck into the building because I have 2 scripts that I think would be worth your time. Please don't press that button. Please
my
don't
finger's
press that
hovering
button.
over it.
Please don't press the button because I'm going to here to talk about Tremors and Twister, my friend. Now, Tremors is a film that I think could be very profitable for your organization because it is a film that will star Kevin Bacon. Need I say more? But I'm going to say more.
Oh, please do.
This is a disaster movie / monster movie / horror film, my friend, / potentially comedy, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
And it's starring 2 leading dudes that are kind of handymen in a small town out in the deserts of America.
Brenton, are you pitching me Brokeback Mountain?
No, Nathan. You'd think it would go that way, but it doesn't. Because giant worms.
That'd be great if there was like a gay love story in between like Tremors. Like, fuck, that'd be incredible.
These giant worms attack this small town.
Oh no!
There's many deaths that are occurring, and the townspeople need to find out what is going down, why it is happening, and escape, hopefully, with their lives. Nathan, that is Tremors.
Okay. All right, my finger's still hovering over the button. You may have given me one movie, but what's this Twister you're talking about?
Nathan, for some reason, I'm doing two and one at the moment because I don't know if I'll ever get
while I'm in here, while I've broken into the building, I may as well.
Nathan, I don't know if they'll ever let me back in, to be honest. Or out of jail, if I'm being completely honest.
Wow.
Nathan, Twister. Nathan, do you like bad movies?
Oh, not particularly.
But yeah, I know not particularly. No one particularly likes bad movies, but sometimes you're just in the mood for one. Well, have I got one for you, Nathan? This is Twister.
Oh, okay.
It is a film.
Is it a dance movie?
No, it's a tornado movie. It's a disaster movie. Whilst Tremors covered our horror genres and our disaster genres and our monster genres.
Oh, yes.
There is some romance in this film as well. Romance. And it involves...
Does one tornado fall in love with another tornado?
One. Well, that's kind of the metaphor that I think I'm going for here.
There is a part of the movie where like there are 2 metaphors, like where there are 2 tornadoes circling around each other. Like, that could be a thing.
Nathan, there's such things in classic disaster films, such as tornadoes wreaking havocs and destroying countless properties, divorce papers.
No. So, but Brenton, is there anything more to this tornado movie than the tornadoes themselves?
Well, I've got some characters in here, but they're not very well fleshed out. But they're there. And
this sounds a lot like a Transformers movie, Brenton.
Well, I mean, the tornadoes are constantly transforming, so maybe we should get Michael Bay in here. I don't know.
I'm surprised Michael Bay didn't direct either of these movies.
Nathan,
frankly.
all you need to know is that there are tornadoes fucking coming, and they're here to wreck shit, and we're gonna watch cows and other animals and other pieces of equipment and housing be flown across the screen before being flung into the ground again. Nathan, does that not sound like a great time?
All right, I guess
We've got visual effects now. We can do anything. It's gonna look great.
It's the 90s. It will always look great, So
what could go wrong?
Nothing could go wrong, apparently. Look, Brenton, I love the audacity of you breaking into my office to pitch me these movies. You know what?
Thank you.
I think when it comes to educating the public about, disasters such as giant worms and tornadoes, we should be doing that with these 2 movies. So here's some money, and please make these films, if we want to call them that.
Nathan, thank you so much. I will not let you down, and I will not spend this money on hardcore drugs. Bye.
You know what? It probably isn't too dissimilar to what actually happened as a Brenton.
Nathan, that was verbatim. Let's continue.
Yeah, pretty much. Should we do Tremors first?
I think so. So, Nathan, let's talk about Tremors.
Yeah, because let's do this in the order that you and I sat down to watch these movies.
Yeah. So, Nathan, what do you think?
Oh, Tremors. It's not good, is it, Brenton? It's not a
No,
good movie.
it's not good at all. It's not
not
good
a
at
good movie. I think you and I, we both had a lot of fun sitting together on the couch watching this movie, but it's not a good movie, is it?
No, it's not a good movie at all. But that is part of the fun.
It is part of the fun. But part of the fun is sitting with your mates and just like throwing shit at this movie.
I would say this movie is bad, but fun. You know what I'm saying?
It's like this podcast, bad but fun.
I would say, yeah, maybe that's why we like it so much. Nathan, I think for me, what is great about this film, as opposed to something else we're going to talk to a bit later on, is that I think what carries this film, as shit as it is, and as cliched as it is, and as
so cliched.
corny as it is in places, and as over the top, one would say, in places as well. Nathan, what carries it, I think, is even though these characters are such caricatures and they are just these people don't exist, and if they do exist,
No.
they're in a mental hospital.
They're fucking insane.
But at the same time, there's a kind of what is the word? You can't help but be drawn to these characters at the same time and kind of want to see out their journey and see what happens to them for the sake of the ridiculous scenario they're in and the ridiculous ways they react to the scenario. We just want to see how it plays out. And that's it. There's an endearing quality to it, I think.
Endearing. That's a very generous term for it, isn't it? Like, to be honest with you, I kind of wanted to keep watching what would happen to these characters, because as soon as you find out giant worms are attacking, I just wanted to see how they'd all viscerally die, Brenton. I just wanted, as soon as I saw these fuckers and their stupid reactions to these worms, I'm just like, nah, I want to see them plucked off one by one in beautiful ways. And sometimes the movie delivers, Brenton.
Occasionally it delivered on that front, but
occasionally, not as much as I would have liked. I must say there wasn't as much death as I'd hoped, but when it's there, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Nathan, there was lots to laugh at in Tremors. Some of it intentional, some of it not.
Because it's like a 50s B movie. It's like a
Totally.
like a monster movie from back in the day, but in the 90s. And it's funny because I said this to you as we sat down. I was waiting for shitty 90s special effects, to be very 90s in that regard. But the monster effects are all practical, so they actually hold up.
Exactly. Yeah, I think one of the best qualities, the best technical things in this film is actually those practical effects.
Yeah.
The use of the monster, for the most part, is pretty good. They're some
pretty
stuff
good.
using,
I got around the worms. I'm like, fuck yeah.
So did I. But there's some stuff using the CGI, specifically a first-person perspective from the worm. That isn't that great, I would say.
It's pretty fucking stupid. I'm glad it's there, though.
Sorry?
I'm glad it's there.
I mean, it adds something, I guess. It adds a chuckle, is what I'd say.
It really does.
But yeah, I like how practical it is, and I like that just kind of it exists in this world that is just kind of zany and weird and stupid and
so bonkers,
juvenile. You know what I mean? But at the same moment, it's still kind of fun.
It is fun. Because what surprises me is that all the characters want to help each other, so they're all kind of riffing off each other. Like normally in these big disaster movies, there's always the one human that sides with the antagonist or that sides with the natural disaster. It's that goes crazy for whatever reason. No, let the worms win and take over the world. But there's no arsehole character in this movie, which is refreshing. So you see these characters trying to come up with ways to defeat these worms, and they get increasingly stupid. And so you as an audience member get increasingly more supportive for them.
Yeah. I like this. I like the setting as well. I like that we're in the desert. I like kind of how that is captured at the same time as well.
Although I don't really like it's in Southern America. It's a little bit stereotypical with them.
No, totally. But I
Texan.
what I mean is that I like the way that is captured on film. I like the landscapes. I like.
Did you like the harmonica soundtrack?
Yeah, dude. I'm into it. It's again it sets the tone. The film. This is the thing I think that's the difference. The film knows what it is.
Yes, that's important.
And it presents this to you with nothing held back. It goes, hey, this is us. This is what we are doing. We know it's ridiculous. We know it's stupid. Have a good time. That's kind of the vibe I get from this film.
It's true. It's very true. And I don't know, but my criticism for this movie, there's so many we could give, but I think my main one is that, I'll ask you this, were you scared of the worms? Did you feel tension from these creatures?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't, but at the same time, I don't know if that's what this is trying to provide its audience. Like, all I can go off is what I...
Oh, I think the film is.
No, I don't know. I feel like when I watch this, I'm going off the filmmakers... Well, I'm just trying to assume the filmmakers' intentions. And when I watch this and I watch how ridiculous it is, I watch how much it focuses on the characters and their reactions to everything, as opposed to how the characters are reacting to this and how it focuses on those characters and those reactions. All those reactions are never really terrified. They're kind of taking it in their stride and moving forward and like... And trying to figure out the situation, save each other, but at the same time, there's romance in this film. There's a buddy kind of element in this film as well, and that kind of is.
To be honest with you, I didn't like Kevin Bacon's best mate. I kind of hated him.
I liked kind of what he provided to the film, and I liked that his relationship with Kevin Bacon. Was it a great performance? No.
No.
Was it...
To be honest with you, are any of them giving great performances?
No, like, none of the performances are great
none
at all.
especially Kevin Bacon. You're just like, what the fuck are you doing here?
But at the same time, I liked Kevin Bacon in this movie. Like, he's bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's such a weird dichotomy that we're in. But yeah, I think going back to the thing about whether we were scared. No, I wasn't scared, but at the same time, I don't think, again, that's what the point is. I think it's just there to have a good time, have a laugh.
I completely disagree. I think the way it's directed, and I think the way it's written, I think you are meant to fear these worms. Because the characters are, like, scared of these worms. I just think because it's poorly executed, we as an audience member just happen to laugh at it. It's like the same way Tommy Wiseau later on said The Room is a comedy. It's like, no, you meant this to be a drama, but just, like, we're happening to laugh at it.
I don't think it was meant to be a drama for a second. I don't think you could, honestly, I don't think you could put those performances on screen and say, hey, this is a drama. And it's
Brenton, it was a biopic, a dramatic biopic of the worms. That's what this movie was.
Nathan, I think in the horror genre, I think that you can have pulp, you can have comedy, you can have fun. I don't think it necessarily has to be scary all the time. And I don't know if that's what this is going for, in my opinion.
So then how do you compare that scariness to Twister? Did you find Twister scary?
No, I found... well...
This is Nathan segueing to the new section.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about Twister then.
Yeah.
The biggest difference, I think...
Brenton's sigh encapsulates everything you need to know about Twister.
The biggest difference, I think, is that the point I made before, in that this... Tremors knows what it is. And it's being stupid, it's being zany, and it's being fun. Twister is trying to be the drama and make you take the situation seriously.
Yes.
It fails on basically every front, because it is a muddled screenplay with muddled character interactions, storylines that you're meant to care about, but you just don't because they're never set up well, and they're never well performed,
It's bloated as hell, isn't it?
It's just terrible, and I still don't know what the real point of the movie was.
So true. I don't even know what the main plot of the movie was.
No, that's it. I'm not even saying from a philosophical point of view. I'm trying to work out the plot and what the fuck was like.
And you're the one who wrote it, Brenton.
I'm the one that fucking broke in and pitched it.
Oh.
Yeah.
But like, I like to think of like Twisters and Tremors. If I could use a metaphor, Brenton, if I may, I like to akin it to two reality TV programs that I know. I like to think of Tremors being Love Island and Twister being The Bachelorette.
Please elaborate.
Whereas Tremors is like so if Tremors is Love Island, it's a fun time and no one's taking shit seriously and there's a little bit of fun and games and at the end of it no one really, there's only one winner at the end. Whereas Twister being The Bachelorette is so much more serious. And like The Bachelorette, people take that shit way too seriously and it's a detriment to the show because at the end of the day, none of it fucking matters.
Nathan, that was a great metaphor. Thank you very much. That's why
Thank you. I just then showed better screenwriting ability than the actual movies themselves.
Thank you very much. You were very, very, very quaint and very, very knowledgeable.
Oh,
Jeez.
thank you. I'm sipping champagne as I say this. But I tell you what though, dude, like I so am on the ball with you with this because I remember when you and I started watching Twister, we're like, fuck yeah, this is like Philip Seymour Hoffman, this has Helen Hunt, this has like Oscar winners in this like tornado movie. We're like, fuck yeah, let's get around this. But then the movie just slogs, and even the tornado shit isn't that exciting.
Well, yeah, the tornado shit, like, is never, like, there was never any tension in this film. And again, like, that wouldn't matter if we were focusing on basically, like, Philip Philip Seymour Hoffman's character the whole time. It wouldn't matter if we were focusing on someone, some dickhead like him, and it was like, oh, look at this, like, you know, and he was...
The main two, the
main two are taking this situation so seriously, and
so seriously.
They're fearing for their lives, and they're trying to save people from these big CGI tornadoes that you don't take seriously for a moment.
And that's where the shitty 90s CGI kicks in.
Yeah, exactly. And
they don't look good, do they? Like,
I don't think this film ever really took off for me personally.
I don't know why there's this divorce plot in the middle of it, and the girl loses her father at the start of the movie, so you think like this is like her coming to terms with tornadoes, but she's the one always hurtling headfirst into the tornadoes herself. So like she's already completed that character arc. Like I don't know why it's in there. Brenton, have you seen the second Godzilla movie?
No, I have not.
Brenton, Twisters is the second Godzilla movie, like beat for beat. Because in the second Godzilla movie, there's also a divorced couple who have a machine designed to understand Godzilla and like the other monsters, and they're both bickering the whole movie as to like get this like to the right monster, and I think they got this from Twisters. I remember seeing they going like, did they copy Godzilla 2 in this?
And why did they copy it?
Exactly. So like, yeah, exactly. So like, I just don't give a like shit about any of them. Like any of them, frankly. Even like, is this how storm chasers are meant to act? Like they act as though like some cool like skateboarding like fringe of society, you know?
Yeah,
but they're all supposed to be scientists.
Well, I mean, like, to be a storm chaser and to, like, you know, do what they're doing in the context of this film, yeah, you'd have to be pretty nuts. But no one ever shows really a great amount of intelligence.
They're just all begging for death.
It's not even that. They're just, like, I don't even think they're begging for death. I think they're going in with good intentions, but, like, good intentions don't change the fact that they're all fucking, like, had their brains, like,
oh my goodness,
have become, like, radioactive waste or something, and are just, like, kind of, like, swirling around in there, you know?
The only normal character in the movie is the main guy's actual wife, who like rocks up like into this crazy world.
You can't call her normal.
No, she.
I guess what you're saying is she's the most normal.
Well,
sure.
She's the one who's like not in the tornado world, and when they like go driving in between tornadoes, she's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" She's like, "No, like this is not normal," and they're all like laughing after it, and she's just like, "This is fucking insane! Like, what are you doing?"
Nathan, I have things I wanted to say about Twister in the spoiler section, so I will keep my opinion to myself until we get there. But
do you think there's too many supporting characters in the Tornado Gang? Because there's like 10 of them that are all like fucking driving around, you know?
Yeah, totally. Like I agree. Like, and they're all played by like kind of like notable actors that I've seen in other stuff. So there's the young guy from Saving Private Ryan. There's Ferris Bueller's best friends in there as well.
It's
you
so
have
random.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, should we talk about Philip Seymour Hoffman in the non-spoilers to let the people know about this?
Oh yeah, it's worth watching just to watch him. If just go and get a compilation on YouTube of just Philip Seymour Hoffman and Twister, and just have a good time. But I think it's a sequel to Boogie Nights. His character acts like...
You are so correct. Like, what the fuck is this performance? He's so out of place. He's like dressed in the most psychedelic like child's outfit, and like he's just like off his meds the whole movie, just like insane.
Yeah.
I don't know what this performance is. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe like he quit making porn films and he's like, fuck, I'm going to go tornado chasing.
I think that's exactly what happened. But it's funny because obviously Philip Seymour Hoffman, I think, is meant to be the comic relief in this film.
Yeah.
But he never does anything that's that funny. Like,
no, he just in general is quite bizarre. And considering everyone's taking shit so seriously and he's like, ugh. I guess it kind of stands out.
Which, I mean, I think is meant to be the joke of what he's meant to provide, but it's the same shit over and over again. So it's like at a point, it's like it's not even that funny. It's not even funny to begin with. It's just, oh hey, look at this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at him.
Jeez.
Look at him.
Look at exactly.
Ha
ha ha. He's and you know, for the sake of the movie, you do look at him and you just go, Christ, like this is neck level, isn't it? Like, oh. I love it. I love it so much. Like, just like I would say the movie's almost worth his performance, but it's not. He's not in it enough.
Oh, it's not.
Like,
no, it's not.
Yeah, and I do love that the movie never explains why he's batshit crazy. Like,
well, Nathan, that kind of leads me on to my point, I guess, with this is that exactly what you just said. Is that the reason that you watch Twisters? Well, no, it's not. And to be honest, I'm struggling to find a reason to like say Twisters is a good time and it's worth your time. So at the moment, I'd say I'd have to put my thumbs down for it.
Yeah, I think rating Twisters, my thumb's also down. Like, there's just nothing you get out of this movie, especially for a tornado movie. It should be better. Even as a tornado movie, it fails because it's just like, oh, I wanted to see wildly different tornadoes. I wanted to see like them, like, I don't know, like throwing more shit into I don't know. I wanted to see more of it, but and it just I wanted to see more deaths. They made any like cool deaths in this movie, like. I don't know. What about Tremors? Like, my thumbs down is for Twisters as well.
Yeah, okay, so thumbs down for that. Look, okay, here's my defense of Tremors. I know it's not a cinematic masterpiece. It's not something that you need to get to the biggest screen that you have access to sit down and watch Tremors from 1990. This film, I think, is for when there's a rainy day outside, or even so, if you just like got a group of mates and you're having a couple of drinks and you just want to have a fun time watching a movie. This movie is perfect for that. It's perfect for a fun time with family, a fun time with
have
friends.
it around the family table.
Exactly. I think
eat some worms.
I think this is a good, like, sorry if this is blasphemous, but it's like a good Easter film, a good like public holiday movie. You know what I'm saying? Something that you just sit down and you just have on. You're like, what the fuck's this? And everyone just kind of has a laugh, but like gets some level of enjoyment out and goes, oh, these guys are really stupid, but kind of endearing at the same time. Oh, look.
When you said it's a great Easter film, I just like to think of like this movie being like as a book in the Bible. It's just like, and then Jesus defeated the wild worms. Like,
and on the third day, God made giant worms.
and he sent them to Texas.
He sent them to Texas and said, go eat the sheep with your tongues, which are also worms.
I'm surprised in this movie they didn't use like God at one point just to get rid of them. Like I feel like this movie would have had like a priest figure like holding up a cross trying to get rid of him. You know what I mean?
Could you imagine if there was an allegory for like religion in this in Tremors? And
I'm sure you can dig into it and grab it. Like,
oh man,
it's so
man.
fucking
Well, so yeah.
stupid.
With that being said, I would put my thumbs up for Tremors.
No, you're not, Brenton.
No, I'm going to. I'm
Brenton.
going to. What? Why is that so shocking?
Because it's no good. Like, it's no
What
good.
the film is going for, it did what it was set out to do, and I had a good time. It has pacing issues. It's got issues. But at the same time, I walked away and was like, yeah, I'd pop that on a rainy day and with some mates and have a laugh and have a good time.
Brenton, I can't in good conscience. Like the acting is horrendous. The script is horrendous. The directing, the set pieces, they're so stupid. Like,
this is all true. You make valid criticism, Nathan.
No, I'm not having both people on Classic Movie Banter giving this a thumbs up. My thumb is down, Brenton.
Okay, fair enough. Like it's a bad movie. I fully admit it's a bad movie, but it's a good time.
Oh my goodness! Enough, Brenton. Let's spoil Tremors.
Spoilers.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
That's all I got for spoilers. And now we're going to talk about two different sets of spoilers.
Okay.
So Nathan, Tremors. What the fuck do we talk about in this movie?
Okay, can we let's start with the girl, because like she pissed me off one of the most out of all the characters. And like I remember like we were watching this and I said to you like, oh Brenton, is that the girl from Jurassic Park? And it took us all a second, I think, and then we were like, oh yeah, it is the girl.
Oh sorry, the little girl.
Yeah, there's a lot of women in this movie that piss me off, but like, and men by the way too. Both genders piss me off here. But this little fucking girl, I don't know why, but have you ever seen a child in a country town ride a fucking pogo stick?
Nathan, I have not seen anyone in my life ride a pogo stick, so...
Was this a 90s thing? Like why?
Probably.
I mean, we know why, because they had to have an excuse of her making like sounds on the earth, right?
Totally, yeah.
But it's the stupidest fucking thing. Like, you're looking at this and you're going, what child spends their afternoons riding a pogo stick in the middle of the fucking road, no doubt, like with music in? Like, they're just asking to get run over by a fucking truck.
Totally.
Oh.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if in road games, like this, like he's driving along the road and this chick was on the fucking pogo stick? Like,
Nathan, when the little girl, like when I saw the whole town like come out during this film, including this little girl, this is kind of funny, but like I had this thought. I was like, who is that girl like when she gets older romantically going to be involved with? There's like no one in this town. Like, is it all like are they like, is it all like incest breeding
Brenton.
or something? Like I just didn't understand. I was just like, surely there's more people. Surely there's more people which warrants having like a huge general store. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they all hang out in the general store like it's fucking like 1910. You know what I mean? Like that's like this, like that's their soul. And you know what? This movie would have been better if it was set in 1910. You know what I mean? Like all they need to do was replace the cars with the horses, and that would have been great.
You reckon 1910 is the place to set Tremors?
Imagine like it's like fucking what's that Will Smith movie where he's in the Wild West, but then he fucking like it's science fiction.
I think it's like Wild Wild West. I think it's like literally called.
It's like they could have just done that. Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, the fucking Wild Wild West. Oh my god. Can we add that to the list, please, of films to review on this podcast?
Oh, I've never seen it. The only thing I know about Wild Wild West is the fucking ride at Movie World.
Nathan, that's not even based on the Wild Wild West, the film.
That's
just like a Western ride. Nathan, you haven't seen Will Smith?
I haven't seen it. I have no idea what the fuck it's about. I think it's horseshit.
Nathan, like, I am very tempted. We have a few films that we've been thinking about for our next few episodes, and I'm thinking of cancelling one of those and adding that film.
Oh my god!
I don't even know. Well, wait. When did that movie come out? I'm looking it up right now. I'm very sorry.
This is Brendan's doing research on the podcast moment.
This
Buckle in, listeners. He's activating Google.
I love that this has become like a segment on the podcast now.
Yeah, it's just like when you not too sure.
Nathan. Oh
my god! Please don't tell me it's older than 20 years. Fucking hell! 1999.
It's 1999.
Why? It's just 20 years.
We need to talk about this film. And it's going to happen very soon.
Oh my goodness.
Just letting everyone know.
Fuck! Also, you know what makes me even more angry about this? We still haven't done a Western on the podcast. And I don't want the first fucking Western we do on this podcast, out of all of them, Diego Leone, all that shit, to be fucking Wild Wild West.
I mean, aren't you like breathless with anticipation?
I'm so upset that we've made this connection. And you know what? I love this idea, and we're going to do this episode soon. And I hate that we are, Brenton. Fucking hell!
So anyway, Nathan, I love a good montage, don't you?
Oh, always, Brenton, always.
Especially when it's pole vaulting.
What the fuck is this movie? Like, who wrote this? Like, what? Because there's a scene where they, like, for some reason the worms, if you haven't watched this movie and you're still listening, this movie's where these giant fucking worms, like huge, are like crawling beneath the earth, and they like fucking, and they feel like footsteps on the surface of the earth. So everyone's running about the small town getting like chewed off or whatever, one by one. And so Kevin Bacon and his like moronic group of friends get the fucking idea of, okay, what if we stand on these giant boulders in the middle of the desert? Which, by the way, makes no sense. But they're like, okay, if we stand on the boulders, because you can still feel fucking vibrations through the ground. Anyway, they go, what if we stand on these giant boulders? That way the worms won't eat us. And they do it, and the worms don't eat them. And so they're like, oh, how do we get back to the car? Because in the middle of the fucking desert. And so they conveniently find these poles next to this rock, and they just all go pole vaulting. Like a fucking, like...
Yeah, for a couple minutes in the film. Like...
It's so stupid. And you think it's done, and then it comes back later on.
And what's great about it too is that they do it like it's like a music video. They do it in time with the music, like in the background too. Like they're all in tandem. Like they're doing it all at the same time. So they're all pole vaulting in the same frame at the same time, all together.
Do you reckon like people who want to do pole vaulting, like young athletes who aspire to be Olympians of pole vaulting, they watch this movie as inspiration? This is their pole vaulting movie.
What other film can you say has a pole vaulting montage in it that you've seen?
None. I don't think any, frankly. Please tweet at us. What's your favorite pole vaulting movie?
Nathan, the other thing that doesn't make sense in that scene either is that, well, obviously, if these things can travel underground, they've got to be able to eat through, like, dirt that is so compact that it's basically rock, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, the fact that they can't, like, get through these boulders is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
That's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. And they get through harder surfaces. Like, when they destroy the convenience store, you think that would be harder to break.
Yeah.
Tell you what, that's a good sequence.
That is a great sequence. When she's standing on the top of the shelf and then the shelves start, like, the domino effect starts happening and she's, like, moving down the room, like, on the top of the shelves.
Christ,
this big ugly worm is like making its way into the room. It's just
that's so
and
stupid.
The way that scene starts with like the owner of the general store being like eaten and being dragged underground, like and he's
that's
like
the best.
The
bit
worm's
of the
like shaking from side to side with this guy, like he's like covered up to his like abdomen with like this thing's like jaws around him, and he's like being shaken from side to
like
side,
a rag doll, and like he's like doing jazz hands as he's being tossed around.
Nathan, it's beautiful.
I don't know why it's in there. Brenton, do you enjoy that this movie, for some reason, this small town has like the entire US military's weapons arsenal in it?
I know. That can't be. Well, it's legal there, but like,
like Jesus. Jesus, like how many fucking like this town is like maybe like 20 people in it, and yet they have like quadruple the weapons per person.
Totally. And they have this like safe house like way up though, like in like the mountains. And,
Yeah.
like where they have all these weapons just like hanging in this random little hut. Like it's just
Could this
bizarre.
movie be set in the Mad Max universe?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Fuck, that'd be great. Like the worms are attacking and they think they're all gonna die, then Max rocks up in his car and he with his like shotgun. And he's
Yeah,
like,
Max Rockatancy rocks. Oh my god, yes.
this would be
Yes.
amazing. Like Immortal Joe, like the fucking like with like the guy playing the guitar and they're all just like running over the worms. Like I'd get around it so much.
Nathan, I'd get around that as well. Now, when you dispose of a giant worm, what better way to do it than to stand on the side of a cliff and coax it over, jump out of the way, and then watch as this fucking thing like eats out of its way out of the side of the mountain and like falls to its death.
Oh my goodness. This was the grand plan as well. This is Kevin Bacon's like holy grail moment. It's like,
When that thing splats on the bottom, it's satisfying. That's all I'm saying.
it's pretty great. I do like the effect. Like it's
Yeah.
like I don't know how they did it, but like I'm pretty impressed.
I was impressed too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that scene. Brenton, it would be remiss of us to talk about this movie and not mention the best character in this movie. Or when I say best, I mean worst. And that's
Who?
the fucking kid. That's like who you and I fucking loved when we watched this movie together. There's some reason, like, if you've seen The Room, Danny from The Room,
Yeah.
like, pretty much that character, in essence, is in this movie.
Totally. But he's worse. I think he's worse.
Oh, so much worse and so much more unwelcome that everyone in the town universally dislikes.
And everyone knows he's a piece of shit person as well. Like, no one likes this kid. Everyone's just like, for fuck's sake. Like, they leave and abandoned him on, like, this shed at this point, and he's just, like, left there by himself, and it's like, good. I hope that shed gets destroyed and you die.
I wanted a good death scene for him, and when he lived, I was so upset. Even when, like, they give him a gun, I'm like, oh, please just let him shoot himself in the head.
And then they gave him a gun with no bullet.
I love it! Oh, I fucking love it. Oh, he's one of my favorites, Brenton. Oh, what a good time.
What would have been really bad is that he's like, yeah, I'm going to teach this kid a lesson and not give him any bullets because we can't trust him with a fucking gun. What a dickhead that guy is. And then if he actually like died because he thought like at the last second that he could shoot this thing and get away because he was like pinned down, and then like this old dude like watches this young kid get like killed viscerally as he's like, well, at least I taught him a lesson.
Like, oh, that's all I needed, Brenton. That's literally all I needed.
Nathan, there were some good spoilers in Tremors. There were some good moments that we could talk about, but I need to talk about Twister.
I agree, Brenton. Let's Twister it. Let's twist as we do Twister. You and I just both like dancing like John Travolta and Uma Thurman, just like as we're doing this. Like,
What is the plot of Twister? You know?
what the fuck is this movie? Because especially with the, you know what? Because we were sold with the opening scene, you know, where you see the house just.
I wasn't at all.
Oh,
But, like,
really? Oh, pardon me then.
I was like, my response to the opening scene was, oh no.
Oh no! It's like, yeah, it's like, yeah. I don't know. I got around the action of. You know what? The opening scene made me think we're gonna get a very action heavy movie, but then like nothing happens for like 20 minutes, and like, Brenton, what was your favorite tornado?
Nathan, there was only one moment in this film that I can say unequivocally that I enjoyed.
Does it involve Jack Nicholson?
I'm gone, Nathan. No, it didn't involve Jack Nicholson at all.
Oh, rip!
It involved a fucking cow flying across.
It almost stole the movie, didn't it? Like,
Nathan, because I knew about that shot. Like, I knew about that shot. I knew that thing existed and that happened in this film, and I'd seen it in some trailer or something at some point in my life.
I feel like this is a DVD trailer. You know those trailers you get at the start of DVDs?
Yeah.
This
It
feels
was
like one of
probably
those
that.
movies. Yeah.
It's probably that, yeah. And so it happened in the film, and I was like, that's where it's from. Oh.
That's the cow. Like,
And that was the most emotion I felt during the whole film. Like, to be like,
wow.
that was- in
Yeah,
that
I felt
moment.
nothing. Even when like the mother got trapped under the house, I'm like, I don't give a shit about this. Like,
That was so bizarre. Again, another subplot of like, why the fuck is this in this movie?
yeah.
I just broke my wrist and bumped my head. I'm fine.
It's like, fuck off. It's like, also that lady owns way too many wind chimes. It's like,
oh, bizarre.
like, do you like wind chimes? Like, controversial. I'm not a fan of wind chimes, Brenton.
No, fuck wind chimes.
Yeah. You have we both on this podcast officially deride wind chimes. Like people like them because they're chill and like, they're tranquil and that kind of shit. No, if you ever hear a fucking wind chime, it's completely sporadic.
If you ever hear a wind chime, go over to that person's house and just like fucking cut it down. Like,
Just like trespassing their property. And people with multiple ones as well. It's like, fuck off. It's like, I don't like the aesthetic. It's like, get him out of here, Brenton.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan at all. Not a fan at all. I will not be having any wind chimes on my residence ever.
What I wasn't a fan of also in this movie was the fact that the two main characters survive. Because like there's the end sequence where they get chased by the fucking tornado and they like climb through this bomb, but which for some reason is filled with every conceivable weapon. And they're like, oh, what a coincidence. And then they fucking tie themselves to the bar and let's get ripped apart. They see the center of the tornado and for some reason still survive that. Like,
yeah,
it's bonkers.
Amazing. And then they make out at the end, even though he was like his fiance left him like less than 12 hours before that.
Jesus, like Christ, that man moves on. I love when they were making out that Philip Seymour Hoffman did a little like a jump and a clap when they did.
I know, right?
Like his reaction was great. The only scene for me, Brenton, that I really loved was when they drove through the house.
Oh, that was fucking stupid, and you know it.
Oh, I know it was stupid. Cool. Okay, the first thing that was stupid was the fucking oil tanker. That was ludicrous.
Oh, for fuck's sake, yep.
Okay, what if the house crashed and you see Judy Garland, like child Judy Garland, crawl out of it? And she's like, I had a bad dream, Mama. And fucking Helen Hunt's like, get out of the way, lady. Like,
and then you see that house like land on like this woman in like red shoes and like stockings that are like striped stockings and like they're just like sticking out from under the house and you're like, this is all too familiar.
It's like, yeah. Also, speaking of Dorothy, like since we're on that Wizard of Oz thing, like how fucking stupid was their little like machine?
Also, like what is with this team's like lack of respect for like their equipment? They just fucking like get rid of shit like there's no tomorrow.
What's their budget? How do all these people have full-time salaries doing this?
Like, do they have insurance? And if so, like, how can they afford it? And
who would give these idiots insurance? Like, that reminds me of like, have you seen Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer?
No, I have never seen that film.
Really? Oh, there's a scene
I've
where
seen
like
the first Fantastic Four film, but not that one.
Oh, there's a scene in the second one where like Chris Evans, he plays a Human Torch, and like they get their new uniforms, and it's got all this sponsorship over it, and he's like, look, we can now save the world and get paid. I like to think that the tornado chasers are like them. Like there's a scene later on where like they change their clothes and they're all sponsored by like Adidas or something like that.
Yeah, totally. It's like Adam Sandler rocks up in like a Subway jumper and he's like, hey guys. Like,
oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. For some reason it crosses over into Happy Gilmore, like they're all playing golf and then Happy Gilmore would have been improved via tornadoes. I tell you what, like
Nathan, let's talk about his fiance in this film.
Oh my goodness.
Because
controversial, I found him more attractive than Helen Hunt.
Oh, Nathan, like this relationship was never going to work.
No. And the movie knows it too. It doesn't even kid you for making you want to believe them.
Doesn't even give her a shot. When when your future husband, you're like, all right, we're here to get divorce papers signed, and then just starts running off, not only with the other woman, but like, you know, running off into like natural disasters and just drags you along with you, not even asking you if you want to go or not. Pretty fucked up. Pretty fucked up.
Oh, yeah. And like and the fact that like she said yes in the first place is baffling.
Totally. Anyway, so she just like fucking leaves halfway through the movie. And I was like, oh. And then there was this weird setup with her and Philip Seymour Hoffman as well, so I wonder what the fuck that was with that.
I don't know what's going on.
She wasn't the star of the film. Do you know who the star of the film was, Nathan?
Who was the star of the film, Brenton?
The doggo.
Oh my god. I knew you would love this dog. Like,
what a cute doggo. What a cute golden retriever. Oh,
I
man.
love it. When we found the mother in the house, I was like, fuck the mother. Protect the dog at all costs.
They left the dog and I was like, fucking go back in there and get it. And then he did and I went, yeah, put him down now and... What a good boy. And like Nathan,
who survived a tornado? You did.
It's like one of those dogs you see in a film that you like. I can almost like feel like how it would feel like to pat that dog on the head.
Oh
like,
yeah,
you know
it's got
what
a
I
big
mean?
like fur, like coat.
Yeah,
like
you just want to get in there and just give it a good little pat, scratch it behind the ears, and give it some doggo love. You know what I mean? Like,
as Brenton was watching this movie, he started screaming, "Bring me those Dalmatians!"
Yeah, I did. Then I skinned them. Yeah.
That's why he loves dogs. Oh, I love it so much.
Give them pats so they don't notice fucking skinning them. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow. Okay.
There's a Cruella de Vil movie coming out starring Emma Stone.
Yeah. Actually, I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I'm like, I've got no reason not to be down with it, but...
Did you see the one with Glenn Close back in the day?
Yeah, of course I did.
That's amazing. I love that movie.
I haven't seen it in ages, and I can't actually remember if it's good or not, but I hope it is.
As a child, I remember liking it. I feel like now it probably wouldn't hold up.
The original 101 Dalmatians I remember loving when I was young.
Oh, that's extraordinary. I love it, yeah.
Because I feel like no one talks about 101 Dalmatians anymore. You know what I mean? Like, in the age
No.
of Disney remakes, and I know that's probably why they're doing this Cruella de Vil thing and whatnot, but we don't talk about that film as much anymore.
Do you reckon they're going to do the song from the movie? Cruella de Vil.
Absolutely. There'll be like a remix and like fucking John Legend will sing it and you'll be
It'll
like...
be Jason Derulo, just like...
No, it won't be Jason Derulo because Jason Derulo's like career's going to be fucking ended after the end of this year, and we both know why. So,
so that's what I was going to say, Brenton. What if it's like 101 Dalmatians, but then there's a cat in the family and it's Jason Derulo as a cat? No, Cruella de Vil has a cat and it's Jason Derulo from Cats.
I mean, that's just an opportunity that's too good, like to pass up. You know what I mean?
We're too close to Cats, Brenton. We're way too close to this movie.
We're too close to Cats and Willem Dafoe. If there's both of those things in a room, like I think I'd shit myself. To be honest.
Okay, how would you feel if Willem Dafoe ended up being in the cast of Cats?
Oh well, I'd book an opening night ticket.
I feel like that would be deliberately for you and me. It's like, wow, they really know about us.
Wow,
like if that happened.
They're really exploring their market here. Nathan, now that we've spoken about in depth about some of the things that happen in both these films,
Yes.
let's get into some special segments.
I like it. For our double disaster double bill, I thought it'd be fun if we put these movies side by side, Brenton, and we have them battle it out with some questions, kind of like what we did for Godfather back in that day. What fond memories do you hold of Godfather?
Not many, so let's get into it.
All right, Brenton, I'm going to ask you some questions, and we're going to see if we can answer them. You know, you're used to asking me questions. I'm going to turn the tables on you, buddy.
Well, wait, just let me turn the table around. Just 2 seconds. Oh. Oh. All right, go.
It's turning around almost like a tornado. All right, so the first question is, I want to ask you, what would make a better theme park ride movie? So a better movie in a theme park. Like Twister, the ride, or Tremors, the ride?
Nathan, they've both got merit, is what I'd say. I'm going to explore my answer as I answer it. Explore my answer.
AKA, I haven't thought about this before you asked it.
No, but because I think they both do have merit. Because I think at the same time...
They'd both be fun, wouldn't they?
I think they'd be a cool animatronic kind of ride with like you go through each of the scenes in the film, maybe with a big little drop at the end or something for Tremors. Like that'd be really...
Oh, you reckon it'd be like you wear the glasses and it's like a motion simulator?
No. You don't wear any glasses. It's like an old school ride, like an old school Disneyland ride. You go through, it's like the Pirates of the Caribbean boat ride.
Oh, like It's a Wonderful Life.
And there's like scenes from the film and you go underground for a bit and you see the worms and shit and you come up and Kevin Bacon's there and it's a bad animatronic and he's kind of like on the spot and he's like running and he's pulling a stupid face and then like you get to the end and it's like there's one of the worms coming at you in front of you and then like you do a little roller coaster dip down under it and that's the end of the ride. Like that would be a fun Tremors ride.
Yeah, I feel like Twister, all it would be was just you and like, I feel like Twister would just be like a Vomitron, but just like a tornado themed Vomitron where like you're just spinning in a circle for ages.
Or it would be a roller coaster. Like, it'd be one of those two things. So it's not as
Oh, yeah, with lots of corkscrews. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I'd probably say Tremors.
I agree, actually, yeah. I think, you know, it'd be great. It'd be great if like it was like an escape room, but a Tremors escape room.
Holy fuck. Yes, a Tremors escape room sounds perfect. And then like halfway through it, like you solve a puzzle and a fucking worm bursts out from the floor.
All right, we've solved that. I like it. Brenton, I got another one. Okay, would setting these movies in 2019 change them monumentally?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the setting of Tremors is incredibly important to what makes it fun.
Oh, 100%. 2019 Tremors, they could just call like anyone, get video footage of this, send it out.
Be like remaking another Kevin Bacon film, which we saw the result of. Like the remake of Footloose is a bit shit, you know what I mean? It doesn't have that essence of the 80s, you know what I mean?
It's true.
On the other hand, Twister can get fucked because like it doesn't matter like when that film is set.
Twister 2019 would solve it immediately because they just send a drone into the tornado. They wouldn't need to fucking build this bucket and shit. They just bloody have a thing fly in.
If they were going to remake one of these films, I think that there's an option to do like a soft reboot of Tremors and like keep the story going, but like, you know, reintroduce some
bring back
again.
like age old like Kevin Bacon and he's like, I've seen the worms because there's like a billion sequels of Tremors.
Totally.
So like, yeah, just keep it going. I mean, this franchise could still be going. We don't know.
But I feel like it makes more sense to do a remake of Twister, but like, I don't know how popular that movie really is. Like, if people want to see it.
Probably not.
No, I don't want to fucking see it.
I think if like a trailer came out for this today, I think people on the internet would be like, what the fuck is this?
Totally.
Like this genre has died. Like
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Brenton, what would make a better video game based on these movies? Tremors the video game or Twister the video game?
Oh, Tremors for sure. Because you got combat. 100%. You got combat. You're fighting giant worms or you're driving around tornadoes. I mean, what sounds like more fun?
I mean, that is quite true. Yeah, this would be amazing actually as a video game. Twister would be a little bit tricky.
Let's not go too far there. I don't know if I'd call it amazing, but it could be good.
Brenton, I want this to happen. I want this to happen now. Twister would be tricky as a video game because, like, what do? You just bloody. It's like GTA but with tornadoes, which by the way sounds amazing.
Yeah. Imagine a GTA game where like a tornado just rips through it. I think there is a game that exists like that actually. I think Just Cause 4 had random tornadoes that could just appear at any point, and you'd just be like, yeah.
And then like you can have like a skin as like Kevin Bacon and like not Kevin Bacon. You have a skin as like Philip Seymour Hoffman and you're running about with like all these guns.
Oh, that needs to happen. Can someone please mod Just Cause 4 so you can play as Philip Seymour Hoffman from Twister?
Oh my god, that'd be amazing. Brenton, what do you think is the most American movie out of Tremors and Twisters?
Tremors, for sure.
Because like Tremors is like, fuck yeah, we're a small town America, we're gonna fight back.
Like a small community coming together to fight a group of like giant monsters, like in the like that's the most American thing I've ever heard of. And they're like putting aside their differences and they're gonna be true patriots and come together and fight together and shoot their fucking magnitude of different guns and
oh, that's very American. Yeah, they love their guns in that movie. Twisters is barely American in that sense. Like they all turn on each other as well. Fucking hell, they're not even that upset when the evil version of the Storm Chasers get murdered.
I mean, the lead guy goes "Brr," and throws his radio a bit. And then,
yeah.
By the way, can we talk about how that evil guy, let's call him like the antagonist, I guess, was played by the lead guy from The Princess Bride?
What the hell is this movie, Brenton? Controversial, I dislike The Princess Bride.
I feel like you've mentioned this on the show before.
I don't understand its love. I really don't. I've tried watching that movie like twice, and I still don't understand the love of it.
I feel like I've heard recently that there was talks of remaking it. Would you be down for that?
No, I want it to fade, Brenton.
Yeah, I don't know. There's
also, like, when that first got announced, however many weeks ago it was, like, there was huge backlash, wasn't there?
Yeah, like... I just feel like with that film in particular, like I just feel like it's one of those things that it's got the Star Wars effect. It's something that was just meant to be a fun little thing that's then been blown out of proportion and people just like love it and see it as this great piece of art when I don't necessarily know if it is that.
No,
you know what I mean?
That's why at the time I said Disney shouldn't be making Tron Legacy. Go away, CGI Jeff Bridges. Brandon, I've got one last question for you.
What is that?
If we swapped the cast and put the cast of Tremors and Twister and vice versa, would it improve both movies?
Nathan, if we put the cast of Twister and Tremors, that cast would not survive.
Philip Seymour Hoffman would definitely survive the worms.
He would be the only one that would, and the rest would all be killed viscerally. Like,
oh, it'd be amazing, and I would love it.
Meanwhile, can you imagine Kevin Bacon and his moronic friends like driving around trying to like avoid tornadoes?
They would live. I bet you anything they would live.
They'd have a grand old time. It'd be a great film. Because they're not
idiots and they don't like drive headfirst into the tornadoes. Like they sense shit, you know?
Oh,
he's got that scientist friend who's like reading like the stats and like the earth. Like, so yeah, they just use her to help.
Man, I'm down for it. Nathan, that was our special segments for this episode. But Nathan, I've got another question for you, and that is what stills this movie. Before you answer that, though, I just want to explain to our new listeners what stills this movie involves, and that is when either myself or Nathan, or maybe together sometimes, we choose stills from the films.
We hold hands as we do it.
Yeah, we choose a single frame, and that frame can be something that is poignant, that shows a visual that like sums up the movie for us, or it can be something that's simply just stupid and funny and that we just thought was hilarious and we just had to pause the movie and get a screen grab of that so we could share it with you guys. Or maybe it's just something, a beautiful vista or something that the cinematographer has captured that is just makes you gasp with how, amazingly beautiful it is. It can be any of those things. So
Brenton,
Nathan,
for these movies, it was definitely the latter for both of them, wasn't it? Like, it's just dumb shit that we both laughed at in this movie. Because for bloody Tremors, it's Kevin Bacon's running face, which is a whole level of
which we get to see quite a
bit
in the film.
What is he doing? Who makes that face when they run? How would you describe his expression as he runs in this movie, Brenton?
I would say he looks, and this sounds bad, but he looks kind of like what's his face Mickey Rooney was going for in bloody Breakfast at Tiffany's. Like, he looks like he's trying to he does. He looks like he's pulling like a really like racial stereotypical face, like that's just like awful and like
he looks like he's trying to pull like a simple Jack face.
Oh, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at
No.
all. And part of me, when I first saw it, was like, that's a bit offensive. And then I was like,
Yeah.
oh wait, that's just his face when he runs.
Oh, it's great though. Like we did have a laugh at that when we were watching the movie. Which brings us to Philip Seymour Hoffman in Twister, because what stole that movie was like just what he's wearing, just everything about his costume design. Like he's got these huge bug-eyed glasses, like he's fucking Edna Mode, and then like he's wearing this like this blankie, this pink blankie is like a.
I think it's a hoodie. I think it's the top of a hoodie, like the top of a hoodie. He hasn't got the rest of the hoodie on, but it's pink, and he's just got it sitting over his cap on his head, and then the rest is just dangling like behind him like a cape, I guess.
He just looks like the special kid who's now like 50 and like he's still with the fam. It's like, I don't know. If you want to see both these pictures, go to our YouTube channel. Well, they're both up there. But like, oh, Brenton, I deserve better from these movies. We all do, Brenton, all of us.
Nathan, I want to know, how did they make this making movie magic here?
Brenton, for Tremors, Kevin Bacon felt that the film was a career low before the movie got released. And he was quoted saying, I broke down and fell to the sidewalk, screaming to my pregnant wife, I can't believe I'm doing a movie about underground worms. like without hindsight, this would be like, you know, pretty difficult to do. But also, like, he would have read the script. He knew what this shit was.
Yeah, and he was like, there's no offers coming down the track. I've got to do this, to work. And he was just like, oh no, I don't know if I'll ever recover from this. But Nathan, I've got to say, I'm glad he did it.
I'm glad he did it too. Like, this movie is only better for having Kevin Bacon in it.
Nathan, S.S. Wilson said that he got the idea for the film Tremors while he was working for the US Navy in the California desert. Whilst resting on a rock, he imagined what it might be like if something underground kept him from getting off the rock. So, Nathan, the pole vaulting montage in this film, that scene of them being on the rock and not being able to get off, is what inspired him to write this screenplay in real life.
That is the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. Like, out of everything. As a screenwriter, like, what are you doing?
What can I say? I don't know what to tell you.
Brenton, there was gummy worms placed in this movie as a running gag because Melvin, one of the side characters, is continually eating them in the movie to make a little nice parallel to him and the worms.
Oh. There are only 2 interior sets in the entire movie, Walter's store and Bert and Heather's basement. But every other shot in the film, every single other shot is an exterior.
Holy shit, man. That's not easy, like, to have that many exterior shots. Like, for lighting consistency, because like, they kind of kept that up. I must say, that wasn't a nitpick of mine.
And it is. It's all like outside. It's all in the great outdoors, Nathan.
The great outdoors. Come once, come all to see the tornadoes. I mean, the plucking worms. Oh, they're both the same. Brenton, for Twister, the tornado sound was made by recording a camel's moan and slowed down and to make the sound of the tornado.
Really? That's interesting.
That's where they got it from. So next time you hear a camel, think Twister.
A camel's moan. Jesus Christ. Oh, the first movie released on DVD was Twister.
No, it wasn't. Was it really?
It was also the last released on HD DVD.
Why? Of all movies. This film deserves no accolades. Like, what is it doing? Like, Brenton, did you know that to generate the wind on set for this movie, they used a spare jet engine from a Boeing 707?
Right. Really?
So they had the jet engine of a Boeing 707 on set and they turned it on to generate the wind.
Right. That's interesting.
That's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, behind the director's this gigantic jet engine.
Wow.
Yeah.
So after Bill Paxton died, who was the lead actor in the film,
Yes.
Spotter Network choreographed 200 storm chasers to spell out BP with their GPS tracker blips on a radar display to honor him. And this kind of tribute had only been done 5 times before, and it was the first time it had been done for someone who wasn't a storm chaser.
That's very, very sweet. I wonder how he feels about this movie. I mean, obviously, you know how he felt, I should say, about this movie. like if he was a big fan of it in the first place.
Yeah.
My last fact is that I love this. So we attacked the script, and we should, but in spite of it, both Joss Whedon and Steven Zalian were brought in as script doctors on this movie for a fee of $100,000 a week.
Whoa.
So, despite all that shit, this is the movie we got.
And even they couldn't fix it.
Well, hey.
Hey.
Let's look at these films' posters.
Oh my gosh, Nathan. Nathan. The contrast continues.
Oh my goodness. I must say, yeah, one of these is fucking excellent. The other one is horrendous. Which one's which?
Nathan, on the left, we have the poster for Tremors, which I have to say, it's going in the category of one of those posters that I'd love to have. You know?
I think that would look... I think this might be one of the best posters we've seen on the podcast.
Without a doubt. Like, what a great poster.
It's what it is that like maybe if you go from the bottom to top, like the first like 80% of that is underground under the earth, and you see this gigantic like worm mouth coming up to the surface, and like on the top 20% is like on the surface level are the three main characters just standing there with like the sun setting behind them, looking very concerned. And the tag on the poster says, "They say there's nothing new under the sun, but under the ground." And then there's like this like gigantic like tooth worm. Like,
yeah, Tremors.
Looks amazing, doesn't it?
Kevin Bacon's name's at the top in purple. Nathan, this is a great poster.
This is extraordinary, which brings us to Speed, Brenton. Which brings us to Twister, Brenton.
Well, Nathan, the person that made this poster might have been on Speed, because fucking this is just terrible.
It's like, it looks like just like a stock image of a tornado with the word Twister on it, and underneath it, and then you see a car driving towards this tornado, like it's sunset or whatever it is, and all it has underneath Twister is the tagline, "The dark side of nature."
Nothing to do with the vibe of the film, nothing that really tells about anything. If they wanted to make this poster dead set, they should have picked what we picked as the still for Twister, which was the stupid picture of Philip Seymour Hoffman, and just had that, and then just Twister, the dark side of nature underneath it. Like,
I want to build on that. I agree we should have Philip Seymour Hoffman in the poster. I want to build on it, saying what the poster should be is a tornado in the center, and all the main characters are spinning around it, like with their arms and legs. They're going, including Philip Seymour Hoffman, including the cow, and they're all just bloody spinning around this tornado like a wacky family movie. Like,
oh man, that sounds great.
And the tag should be, "You'll be twisting for weeks."
Sure.
So title talk, Brenton.
Title talk, yeah.
Well, in Tremors, were there Tremors in Tremors?
There was. Tremors a great title. Yeah, there was Tremors, and it's alluding to the fact that there's like earthquakes.
But at the same time, Tremors made me think it was going to be an earthquake movie.
Sure, but it got you. It got you, Nathan. It wasn't one. The twist
did
is
it
that
get
it's not
me?
one. Because the whole start of the film is setting up the giant worm thing. Like, we don't see the worms until a good... half an hour into the film?
Yeah, I guess. I suppose. Yeah, I feel like it is a surprise when the worms rock up, because you're not expecting it unless you know the premise. But then again, the twister gives it.
Because you turned to me at a point and said, "Wait, are there monsters in this film?" And I was like, "I don't know, Nathan." But I do.
Yeah, because you knew, and I turned to you, and I'm like thinking we're going to get an earthquake movie. And then I'm like, the fuck? Why are there worms in this movie? And you're giggling. I'm like, fuck off. Like,
and Twister. Ugh.
Was there Twister and Twister? Do you know anything call them? I feel like a movie as shit as this, it would have had the main characters call them Twisters. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, there's another Twister. You know what I mean?
Nathan, they should have called this Helen Hunt Experiences PTSD.
The twisted mind of Helen Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's shit. I would have called it like, I would have used a B movie title. I would have been like When Tornadoes Attack or something like that.
I just wouldn't have made the movie.
What about Storm Chasers? That would have been more appropriate.
Yeah, sure. Maybe. But really, do you think this film sums up the job description of a storm chaser? You know what I mean?
Okay, how about this? What about When Balls Fly?
Oh, Nathan, I've had enough, so let's pass the power to the people. Let's pass it to the people, the power. Ooh, yeah.
Brenton, I tell you what.
Yeah.
Brenton, I tell you what.
Yeah.
Brenton, I tell you what. Brenton, I tell you what.
What?
This movie has gotten so much acclaim on Rotten Tomatoes, Tremors I'm talking about, because the critical consensus is at 85% and the audience score is at 75%.
Wow.
Way too high. I swear this is ranked higher than like proper movies that we've done on this podcast.
Yeah, I think it has. And Nathan, I'm agreeing. Like, I think it's thumbs up. I think it's a good time.
This movie's ranked higher than Babe 2.
Oh, well, and rightly so.
Because Variety staff, they didn't like the movie. They wrote Tremors has a few clever twists, but ultimately can't decide what it wants to be. Flat out funny, which it's not, or a scarefest.
Nathan, I disagree with this review straight away because it says that Tremors
a few
has a few
clever twists. Jesus! And this is from Variety. This is one of the most reputable magazines about film on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, a few clever... name one fucking twist in this movie, Variety.
We're waiting.
You can't!
Jeff Andrew from Time Out says, this is what a monster movie is supposed to be like, and it's terrific.
Is it? I feel like Jurassic Park is what, like a monster... Like, you look at Jurassic Park as a monster movie, and you compare it to this. You know, it's clear as night and day.
But at the same time, this is providing something that Jurassic Park doesn't, and that is pulp. And and giant worms.
Oh god, can you imagine like how they did Jurassic World to Jurassic Park? They do like a bloody like worm, like a worm world compared to like a worm like small town. Like all of America's been attacked by worms at once.
Sir, one of the worms has gone missing.
Rihanna N gave it 5 stars and wrote, one of the best movies ever made.
Mate, Rihanna, I gave this a thumbs up, and I gotta say, this is not one of the best movies ever made.
Like, you do you, buddy, but come on.
Alex S gives this 1.5 stars and says, Tremors' self-awareness can't compensate for a lackluster script and characters the audience cares absolutely nothing about. Hey, they're endearing.
I mean, I did want them all to die. There's not a single one I really wanted to live at the end, so I do kind of agree with that. Chris Farrell wrote on YouTube, love this movie night. Watched it with my father when I was young and was afraid to move off the couch and put my feet on the floor.
Yeah, mate. I reckon if young kids watch this would like spark the biggest game of the floor is lava, or more so the floor is giant worms.
Oh my goodness. Brenton, this is where you and I disagree regularly. How young could you watch this movie?
Well, obviously there's lots of swearing in this film.
That is true.
So if put that aside for a second, I would say, 7 years old?
Crikey! God, Brenton, no! I was thinking maybe 11 or 12.
No, man, it's stupid. Like,
we're going to be very different fathers when the date comes, Brenton.
My kids are going to be fucking traumatized.
They're going to be so fucked up. Jeez, they're going to raise them on cats, I tell you what. Dr. Feel Lucky on YouTube also wrote, probably the last good monster movie.
Well, okay. What's the most recent monster movie you can go to and be like, that's fantastic?
I mean, you could look at Godzilla and like King Kong and all that. Like,
I haven't seen any of them, so I can't comment.
First Godzilla's great. First King Kong's better, in my opinion, the Skull Island one, and then second Godzilla's like fine. You could also look at the Pacific Rim movies.
Oh yeah, apparently those are good, right?
Oh, I hate both of them.
The first one apparently is alright.
Oh, see, people like it, but I'm just like, also it has the worst Australian accent you'll see in a movie. In the first Pacific Rim, there's an Australian scientist and his accent is horrendous.
I kind of want to watch it now.
Oh, it's great. As an Australian, you got to watch that movie just for that. Or at least look up a YouTube clip of it, because like, whew, it's bad. But I don't know. I feel like there've been better monster movies made since. Look at Jurassic World. Like, you know, have you seen Fallen Kingdom, the latest one?
No, I haven't. I didn't enjoy Jurassic World that much, if I'm being honest.
Oh.
I thought it was all right. You know,
the second half, I'm going to spoil Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom for you, because the second half of that movie is them bringing a T-Rex to a mansion, and the second half of that movie is purely a Monster House movie.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds like
where
fun.
like they're staying in the house for like 40 minutes, and there's a 40-minute sequence where a T-Rex is climbing through the wall, like through the house, like trying to kill them.
Wouldn't the T-Rex just destroy the whole house?
Exactly, Brenton, and it's amazing.
Hey mate, that's all the power we have to pass to Tremors. So let's pass more of that power to Twister when we say that on the tomato meter, Twister has a rating of 57% from the critics and a score of 58% from the audience.
Beautiful.
Not as crash hot as Tremors, unfortunately, for Twister.
No, they don't like it as much. I do love that, because I thought Twister was going to be the better movie, but I'm surprised it was Tremors.
Nah, God no. Richard Schickel from Time Magazine gave it a negative review and says, you know a movie is in trouble when a cow provides its only moment of authentic human interest. And I agree. That was the only moment in the film that I was like, oh, look at that.
I mean, he's not wrong at all, frankly. Like, and same with Dennis Schwartz. He wrote, about as fun as watching a weather report. We do see a couple weather reports in this. I thought they'd feature more.
Mate, there's nothing like the weather reports from Anchorman from Brick. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit's way more entertaining.
I wish that character was in this movie. God, that would have improved it.
That would be great.
Oh,
hey, there's an anonymous review here that gives it 4 stars and says, a beautiful mess. A bit like a real tornado.
Oh, that would have been great. Oh, I love it. Tom J wrote 1.5 stars and said, sweet Christ, this movie is terrible. Philip Seymour Hoffman's character might be the worst of any film.
Clearly has not seen Breakfast at Tiffany's and Mick Rooney. That's all I'll say to that.
God, yeah, no. Yeah, God. Even, like, racism aside, it's bad acting. I don't know what it was. Because you know what it was? The script doesn't really show Philip Seymour Hoffman needing to be like that. That the actual words that he says doesn't indicate that he's batshit crazy.
No,
it's purely an actor decision that he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, I don't even know what the point of him having him there was. Like, because it was meant to be comic relief, but he wasn't like... It was funny because you were like, haha, that's Philip Seymour Hoffman, that Oscar winner, who he wasn't at the time of this film.
No.
So it's just like, oh, look at this guy that looks a bit funny and is acting high off his fucking kite.
What if this was a prequel to The Master? Like, this is how Scientology started.
Oh my God. It would be very telling is all I'd say. Phil O'Shaughnessy. Okay, tell the truth. Who wanted to be a storm chaser after seeing this movie? Mate, I'm telling the truth. I do not want to be fucking storm chaser after this. Like, no one did, you dickhead.
This is the worst. You know, like we were talking about Top Gun ages back, and we were saying how like the Navy was like standing outside like the cinemas, like signing people up for all that kind of shit. Or whoever it was, like the Flight Academy. Imagine if like outside cinemas, like fucking storm chasers, like were standing outside, like sign up for our career. You'd be like, oh, you get back the flyers. And finally, Darth Scorpio 11 wrote on YouTube, 90s, why did you have to go? Do you miss this genre, buddy? Do you miss this era of filmmaking?
I kind of do. I do like the 90s. Like
we were born in them.
Yeah, I do like the 90s. Like, there's a lot of films from the 90s that I look back on fondly and give me giddy feelings and... You know,
is Twister and Tremors two of them?
Tremors is one. Twister can fucking like I said, we can disintegrate that bloody DVD-ROM and send it off into the tornado along with all those fucking stupid scanner things, which is the dumbest piece of technology I think I've ever seen. Maybe it exists in real life. Hey, and I'm wrong, but that was fucking stupid. They sent off, like, how can they afford to just like send off a fucking Jeep into the storm as well? Like.
Yeah. And also when it gets picked up and thrown down near the start, like it survives and they continue to drive it.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all idiots, Brenton. Well, that was the classic movie Banter's double disasters. Like,
mate, that was a good time. That was a bloody good...
What did you learn today, Brenton?
Well, I learned that giant worms exist and we do need to kill them.
They could be in your very backyard.
In fact, there might be one underneath me right now. Oh, guys, before we're eaten by giant worms, please tell us your experience with them on our Twitter page.
Send us your conspiracy theory links
in the comments on YouTube. Please let us know your experience with giant worms and or twister tornadoes. Please let us know because Nathan, what's that?
Oh no.
Nathan.
Oh no.
Nathan,
the tornado's still coming near us and I can see the worms starting to emerge.
What are we going to do? We can't do anything. We might have to accept our fate.
But Brenton, what's that I see on the horizon?
Is that Willem Dafoe?
Is that a goblin glider?
Oh, he's coming for the rescue. Yes, Willem.
Naturally, a tornado and a worm's worst enemy, pumpkin bombs.
We want out, Willem. We want out with you.